Hi, we are starting to work on our next signature. We've already done the left panel and page 1. We are going to work on page 2. I'm using this as my base piece. It has all constellations on it, and the reverse side has these images. So this is the piece I wanted to use. Now I'm going to kind of tone down, at least in my mind, I'm going to kind of tone down this a little bit. So what I've done is I have created a bottom pocket using this out of my scraps. It adds some different color and some texture. And then I've used that piece of paper to create a stripe through this. And this is mounted on blue cardstock. This is not. This is just going to come up here and be up here at the top so that it can kind of balance this out and take away some of all the dark blue constellations. Now on the reverse side of this, there were some flowers. One is on a straight edge. I cut it out and I'm going to put it right here. And another flower is going to go here, and then I'm using this small tag cut out, mounted it on gold cardstock, and it's going to go right here. So this is what the base page is going to look like. Now there was another flower. Let me see if I can find it quickly in my little box, stash box. There it is. So there were actually 3 flowers that I cut out, and then this is the other one. Now, if you wanted to, you could put this up here, again, to kind of pull in and break it up if that's what you want to do, but you're not losing the ability to continue to use the pocket. So let's go ahead and let's get this in here. So I'm going to line this up that top grid because I'd like to have this down here about 1 inch. So I'm going to line up here on my desktop when I put it down. Okay, I'm going to put that right there and then line that up right there. So hopefully it is straight pretty good, actually. Oh, I have it off on the end over here, but not now. I've got. All right, now we're even across. Did I line that back up the right way? No. Now I'm really messing things up here. Okay, there we go. And then I did not put any tape on the back side of this, so let's go ahead and get this done. Come on. And then I'm going to match this up to a corner. Lay it straight and then walk it across the bottom. Beautiful. Now this one, this piece. Lay this in there. Now this piece, it's backed with some blue cardstock. This will help to keep a separation between the multicolors on this and this. All right, now let's go ahead and, now I've got to be careful when I glue this down because I don't want to glue up here because then it will stick to this. So I am just going to come down, use my fingers as my pinchers. I'm just going to glue this part. Again, I used my glues kind of as my pinchers, my guide. I'm going to set that right in the corner. Good, no glue back there. And then this flower. And I'm only going to kind of glue here in the circle so that when I want this to open inward. So when I put this down, I can kind of pull up these edges so it gives a little bit of depth here. And then we'll put this here. Okay, so the base page is done. Let's work on the next element. We're going to make a couple of photo cards here that are going to come in along the side. Now I am using for trimmings, there's this piece here. I've already cut out a lot of these, so I don't need these elements anymore. I'm using this side, so it'll help to add some brightness in here. And then on the reverse side, I'm using a couple of these cards. But let's get to the main. This is going to measure at just, let's say 4 3/8. It's almost 4 3/8. So 4 3/8 by 5 5/8. And we're just going to center this. You know, this is going to create bulk right here. I'm going to pull these up to the top and I'll show you why. So I might come down just a little bit. Well, I didn't put that in there completely straight, did I? Of course, turning it over, it moves. So if I just pull it off the top a little, and then I'm going to do the same over here. And I want to match these up. So I think I've got it. What I looked at was this and then made sure I had the same amount over there. And they line up really nice. Okay, so strength on this side and temperance on this side, and then the back side we're going to use these. Now, when you cut these, their corners are rounded, so the only corner I can round here are these outside edges. And I will tell you right now, when you're rounding these corners, use a 1/4 inch corner round. I used a 1/2 inch on one, ended up trimming it down because the 1/2 inch really took a chunk out of the card. Okay, then we're going to turn these in, and then we have some nice photo mats. This is also a light enough color that you could actually, with a dark pen, do some journaling. Okay, so this is what we have here for our base page. Now our flap for the right hand side measures 6 1/4 inches across by the 8 5/8 in the height. And then you're going to come in and you're going to score it at 1/2 and you're going to score it at 5/8. And this measurement across does not count the gold trim. And again, and showing you a visual on this side, that 1/2 inch line. I want this gusset that we've created on the top so that it's wrapping around the bulk that we just built. So when you turn this over, you are going to bring this right up to that 1/2 inch score line. And then make sure it's straight. Then when you take this tape off and you go to press this over, you are going to have a little bit of bulk here with this. So you'll need to just be aware of that and take control of it and pull it over. Otherwise, what happens is this will slide, and then I hope I didn't do it. And then when you turn this over, you still see tape here because you didn't give enough pressure to pull it over the bulk that we built up there. Okay, now let's go to our left side. And this is going to measure at 5 3/4 across by your 8 5/8. And again, you're going to come in with a 1/2 inch score and a 5/8 score. Same thing. We're going to line up to the 1/2 inch score line. So we're going to bring this right up to it, hold it firmly in place, and then we're going to really push that over. And then push this back because you've got that 5/8 score line, and we want it to remember its job. Okay, so this is going to go, this is going to go left over right. Now, no, I'm sorry. It is going to go right over left because there is a closing flap that we're going to put on the left-hand side, and it's going to come over, and the magnet's going to be on the underside of this and the top side of this. So let's get this cut. I don't think I measured this. So this piece is going to be 6 1/4 inches across, and it's going to be 5 5/8 in the height. And you're going to come in and score it at 1/2, and you're going to score it at 5/8. And then you're going to balance it in between these two so that you roughly have the same space top and bottom. And on this one, because we need this hinge to actually lay over and wrap this in, you're going to come right up to the 5/8 score line. Oops, I'm missing it down here a little bit. And this should just lay right over. Okay. Now let's go ahead and let's get our magnets. And then I'm going to add some insurance here. That was it for that roll. All right, let's get back to the inside of this. I think this is absolutely stunning. And in small amounts, I think that would look great on an accent wall in my home. I think that would be so pretty. Not the whole wall. I think then it would become too much. Or maybe a comforter or these colors quilted or knitted into an afghan, a throat. I just think this is beautiful. Okay, so this is what we're going to line up here. And then we're going to line up its partner piece over here. We're going to glue these two pieces down. Neat. And then using that trim, we're going to make tucks on both sides. And then we're going to put some moons. You can pick out whatever color moons you want. I made sure they were a little bit different. But I also used some Wink of Stella on the moon so that there is a little bit of glossy shine going on here. Let's go ahead and let's get started. The nice thing about working with 2 packs of papers, you can afford to let go of some of the cutout elements like that's on this side of this one, because I really wanted that, play with that paper. All right, I've got mine taped. These measure 8 and an 1/8. And then I'm using an 1/8 inch tape down the center and on the edges so we can maximize the tuck. And it's going to come here. Oh, you know what I wanted to do? Let me do this. So I'm at 8 5/8, so 4 3/8. So this is going to be my center. So I'm going to use this as my guide for putting this down. And then this trim. And then we'll put on the first part of the moons. And I'm going to glue the trim because it's going to hang over a little bit. And I don't want glue closing the, move it over here just a bit, closing the slip where you would put your items in there. All right, so that is set and ready to go. Let me get something out of here. And then you've got a nice tuck, top and bottom. And you can still get a committed, how big is this? This is 4 3/4 by 3 1/8. So that's a nice size photo or card or statement, or maybe even a journaling piece that you can put in there, and then still slip something in over the top of it. All right, let's go over here to this side. This is what I'm talking about. I've got another sheet of these cutouts, so I can afford to miss these. That's nice when you've got double ups. Oh, I had to look to make sure that I had the design running in the right direction. So that might be a point that I should say, is make sure that you've got the designs going in the right direction. Okay, so let's get these taken apart. Yeah, there. All right, same thing. I'm gonna line up to this, make sure that's relatively straight, and then here's my other, and that's the other thing. Because this has got stripes in it, you might want to make sure that it's going in the same direction on both sides. So I have the dark blue trim on the top. I wouldn't want this to look out of balance by putting a dark blue trim on the bottom over here. So do maybe take that in consideration. And then here's my moon. Okay, so this is what we've got here for our inside panels. Let's take a look at here. The piece I used for out here has the castle and the hot air balloon. Now, what my intent here was to try and keep in frame the ruler looking guide here on the edges, this here and this here to balance. Here's your castle with the moon, and then this is on the upper top part of the 12 by 12. So I actually cut through the center first between these two elements, because this is on the bottom. It sits somewhat like this. So I cut up through the center first so that I could get this piece, and then I cut across the bottom to get this piece because I wanted that as my focal point. I hope I'm making sense here. I feel like I'm stuttering a little bit. So you'll just need to do some strategic trimming. And then this is going to go over here like so, but I need to get some tape because we're going to tape this. I'm going to tape this down. If you want to glue it, go right ahead. This is beautiful, but not something I would have on a wall. Now a little self-promo here. I have my own new website. It's My Messy Fingers. And if you would like to go visit it, you might find I hope you would find something in there you might like. I've got my albums. I also have ribbon. I have one set of dies left from a closeout that I was able to get in on. And these acrylic tools. So if it's something that you think you would be interested in, just go ahead and swing on by mymessyfingers.com. All right. Cut this piece here. Now this would be, I don't know that you would really want to put a photo or anything on here because of the magnet. It will probably lose its strength because it's going through too many things. So this would make a great piece with a handwritten journal to tell the story of maybe some of the photos that you're going to place in here. Before I do that, I need to make sure that I've got this going with the right piece. Okay. And the same thing here, you want to be mindful of this score line that's over here and that you're not laying your paper on top of it. And then this piece will go right here. This is one of the larger cutouts, and there's a couple of different images, so you can use whichever one is appealing to you. And I am going to grab my Wink Stella. And just kind of color this in just a little bit. It just adds a little spark. Okay, I think I got it. So there we go. Let's go ahead, turn it over. We'll get the big tape out. And we'll get this seated into the album. get it in our book. And we're going to just set it in here like so. I am going to turn it. I'm going to take this one and these two off. Lay it right on the edge. Make sure that it's even, it's not cantering off to one side. And I have not forgotten about the inserts or the pockets. I want to wait till I get to the end so I can figure out just how much paper I have left and can I use it to do full coverage. All right, let's get the rest of this taken apart. And then this last piece. Push back on that hinge. There we go. Give it a good burnish. I'm trying to be careful. I don't want to kill my flowers. Okay, there we go. I always want to turn that one off. There we are. All right, we will be back to do this one. So until then, bye-bye.